Welcome to Homebrew by J.W. Martin Real Estate, where we uncover the true stories of what's brewing in South Carolina's local business scene. I'm Joey Martin, and each week we sit down with the ones who are pushing through the grind. Business owners, creators, and community leaders who have fought through the tough times and come out stronger. No fluff, just real stories, smart insights, and a whole lot of lessons learned the hard way. Let's dive in. Really excited about today's guest on Homebrew, Mr. Dean Russell. Dean has helped me immensely in my own personal business, and he is a certified EOS implementer. And for those who don't know what EOS is, that's Entrepreneurial Operating Systems. And he's helped my company tremendously and helps leadership teams gain clarity, accountability, and traction. Dean, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joey, man. It's my pleasure.
I'll start with kind of my journey with you and EOS. And I was hesitant because there's an investment involved with EOS. But man, I have to tell you, after going through it, I find it well worth it. And so I found myself, and I think, I hope there's other entrepreneurs out there that can relate, is that I just put my head down and would grind and hustle and all the buzzwords that we use for working hard. I would just put my head down and do that. And as long as there was money in the bank account, I thought that everything was just fine and dandy. And it turns out there's a lot more involved than that. And as I started to grow as an organization and take on employees and additional agents, I own J.W. Martin Real Estate, a real estate brokerage. We now have 32 real estate professionals. And as I was growing, the company was growing faster than what I knew what to do with. And that's where Dean came in and kind of helped right the ship a bit. And I really do appreciate it, Dean.
Thank you, Joey. It's been my pleasure, man. You met the criteria for what I'm looking for to work with the entrepreneurial team. I'm looking for somebody that's growth oriented, not egotistical. That's basically lets the data speak instead of being an opinion-based organization. Let's look at what works, what's been proven to work. Not a lot of fluff, just straight, practical, pragmatic. And I would say EOS is simple, but not easy. And it's that simplicity, I think, that makes it work, because it's just straightforward. And you look at it and you go, that makes sense. I should maybe try this. And it's a very dynamic, but you have to have accountability. You have to have discipline. It puts a whole lot of things into an organization that are missing. And because it's missing, at 2:00 in the morning, the entrepreneurs sitting there at 2:00 in the morning go, am I an entrepreneur or entrepreneur? Sorry, humor. But people just got these insomnia thoughts, and they feel like they're not in control. They feel like nothing's working, man. I've thrown everything against the wall and nothing's sticking. And there's got to be something that works. And my journey to find EOS was actually experimenting with other competitors with EOS. And I ended up with EOS because it was the best.
Yeah.
For both of the company.
I'll tell you, as far as one of the biggest things that helped me along the way was I was going through my day and I would find myself frustrated or secretly angry inside because somebody within the organization hadn't done something that I thought, in my mind, I'm like, they know they've got to do that. Surely they know that they're supposed to do that. And then, so through EOS and kind of that process, we started what you call seats on the bus. And you got to have a bus first, right? And so what I was doing was I was frustrated because I wasn't communicating well. The problem was me all along, and I just wasn't communicating very well, my expectations of people. And so we had seats on the bus, but the seats, people were jumping around seats, and there wasn't a whole lot of clarity as to what each seat meant or what the responsibilities of each seat were. And so that was one of the biggest things just right off the bat. Just having the opportunity to sit down, establish where the company was and establish seats on the bus.
And that's one of the things, like from Jim Collins' Good to Great. We take that concept, I take it a little bit further. Collins says you got to have the bus, you got to get the right people and then put them in the right seats, which means what is their God-given talent, their unique ability that can make them shine. And if you find that right sweet spot that they love what it is, they're passionate about it, and they got a purpose or a cause that says, this is me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I love it. thank God it's Monday, not thank God it's Friday. I hate my job. I take this job and shove it versus take this job and love it. If you give people that opportunity, they're already motivated. They're already engaged because they love what they do. So my philosophy is get the bus, get the right people, get the wrong people off the bus and then run them over. No, I don't want them coming back on the bus because especially if they've got the core values, which we did with your team, and you guys come up
Yeah.
with some great core values, man. And when you hear real legitimate core values and how you hire, fire, recognize, and reward people is on those core values. Everybody's living it. The culture comes alive and it needs less micromanagement because people are going to be doing the right things because they got the right programs running. And that's one thing with your company I was very proud of. You come up with your own core values. We debated it. We went back and forth with who are we really? And it starts with exercise. Who's some of the best people you've ever worked with in your life? And what was it about that person that you like? And if you could clone them, you'd have 1,000,000 of them. You could take over the world. And so
Right.
that EOS journey, we go, what is it? And who are you really? And I've seen a lot of companies with different core values. I think probably one in New Jersey that made me laugh was your mama doesn't work here. Another company, we love dogs because every branch had a dog. They had golden retrievers. Everybody let dog just wander around and they
Yeah.
go, you're not a dog person. You don't have to do business with us. But if you're a dog person, bring a treat.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of companies, and one company had one as a wealth management group. This is just cool. I love my job because you just see people, they know who they are. They just got to get it coalesced and curated and then organized. And then the culture is easy. The culture is easy. And when you terminate people, terminate themselves. You don't terminate them. They went against the core value. But this one company, billion dollar company, their core value is you can be wrong, just don't be wrong long. And
That's pretty good.
fast failure. And I think one company cracked me up. I looked at the first core value and I go, it was a NFA. And I go, NFA. And they go, no. And I'll paraphrase what it was, no frigging around.
Right. Okay.
Production busy. And then, so I got that one. And their next one was GSD. I go, GSD. And I'll paraphrase what they said again, get stuff done.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
said, I think HR might have a problem.
Yeah.
HR manager who come up with it. I just go, you guys make enough money and they love it because it's who they are. They didn't mind the name on the core value, but it fit their culture. And they were highly productive. But at the same time, they believe don't work yourself to death. They did
Yeah.
not workaholic place because they go, what they call it, decision fatigue. You get
Yeah.
so big and so tired at the end of the day. There's a book by Daniel Pink called When. It's when people make decisions. They found out you're a lot better in the morning than in the afternoon and then later in the night if you've had a long day. And that's why Steve Jobs used to wear the same outfit every day. Black
Oh,
shirt.
yeah.
Yeah, he wore the same thing because it was one less decision he had to make.
That's pretty smart. I didn't realize that. I'll tell you some other things that you guys helped us with as a company, as we were growing and evolving and we established seats on the bus was there's also a book that I've read recently that kind of puts me in mind of this is Who Not How. And I was a how addict. I was addicted to hows, trying to figure everything out on my own, trying to do everything myself. And then when you came in there and offered the clarity of, you said, Joey, you're the visionary for the company. And so the visionary's roles, you're not supposed to be doing all these things that you're doing. And probably because you need to trust other people to do what they're good at. And so we placed me as a visionary. Then we had Amy as the implementer, and which has been a game changer for us.
Yeah, you're supposed to grow the company, and Amy is to run the company. But being an integrator is not I know you call it implementer, but what it is, this person, the integrator name is actually right. So she's running three things. She's running marketing and sales. And I know they're two separate functions, just for this
Right.
example, marketing sales, which means she has to understand marketing and sales. And then she runs ops, and then she runs finance to make sure money coming in is being spent wisely and invested wisely. What is ROI? And everything's in ROI terms. Well, she did that. You got the opportunity to do what you do best. And like this, what we're doing right now is an example of what a visionary should be doing, is putting the message out there. And one thing that you said that you guys did a great job is something called core focus. So core focus is that why are we in business? And the example I always use in my groups is I said, mothers against drunk drivers. I saw the person who started that, and she, kind of like Shark Tank, she got in front of the group. She was very nervous. And she said, she started off with this: my daughter was killed by a drunk driver. Pause. Everybody in the room gets real solemn. Damn. And then she says, my purpose is to get drunks off the road. Can I count on your donations? And she walked off. And I realized, bam, brain crash. I go, it's not the duration, it's the donation. It's what she puts. It's simple terms. I didn't have to have a stupid card like, what's the mission statement? No, my purpose, get drunks off the road. And I think what EOS does really good is about what's my purpose? You know, my passion. What am I going to do? And if you can't do it 7 words or less, it's too long. People are going to forget it. But if you can keep it simple, straightforward, and people go, this is why we're in business. And you guys, correct me if do you have your core focus with you? Could you run me through that real quick? I can't remember what it was. I remember part of it, I don't remember all of it.
Our slogan that we had was be the kind of realtor you'd want your mother to have.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And that's simple, man.
Yeah.
Unless you had a really bad mom. But that's what that was, something simple, something I can relate to. Something like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, we wanted to convey authenticity. That's really we wanted to convey that we're authentic people and we want to take care of people like we would our family members. And I know that might sound cliche, but that's legitimately who we are as a team. We want to take care of people like that.
So when you told me that, we were discussing it. And then when you told me you'd been selected and appeared on HGTV, there's no surprise because you're sincere and you're authentic. And people have bullshit detectors. They can tell if something's real or not real, or they just memorize it. It's like when I walk into Walmart and a person wears a I care button. If you really care, you don't have to have the button, man. Come on.
Right. If you did, you wouldn't need a button to say it.
Yeah, that's what I say. When I see all these people got the little memory jogger cards, I go, we're doing something wrong. If we got to have core values and the core focus, the mission, if we got to have that in the damn memory jogger, we're doing something really wrong.
Yep. Another thing that I remember was the wheel that we had of all the steps of EOS. What are all the various aspects of EOS, the EOS model?
Thank you. This is the simplicity of it too. So it all starts with vision. Like, what's the plan for the future? And I got 8 questions. And a matter of fact, if anybody wants to contact me, I will send you that for free. It's called the Vision Traction Organizer. I'll send that to you. It's excellent. I give it to small businesses. I get mom and pops. Anybody that wants to know about EOS gives it away for free. Help yourself. We want you to actually use EOS, even if you don't pay us. It's a good system. And it comes from the book. There's a great book called Traction by Gino Wickman, who started EOS. And in that book, he spells everything. He gives away all the secret sauce for EOS. So if you buy the book Traction, it's a great, easy to understand book. But Vision says, what's my plan? And for example, 10 years from now, what's the one thing I'd like to get accomplished? And then 3 years from now, what would be some things that would really be cool? And then 1 year, we break it down to 1 year. And so vision is where we're going to say, I've got to get my future plan. I got to have a plan. And then the schedule follows the plan. And so vision's the first piece of the pie. What's the plan, Stan? And then you move to people, and that's the right people in the right seats. And it's 2 different things, because the people are going to have those values inherent to who they are and what they believe is right or wrong. And if they don't agree with your values, let's not hire them. Let's spend some extra time just to ask about the values. Matter of fact, I think it's Jim Collins or Patrick Lencioni would take a new hire out to lunch. I wouldn't do this, just telling you, I don't find this, but he would have the order screw up their order. Whoever he's taking lunch on purpose, he'd have the waiter, whoever it was, took the order, screw up the order, and watch their reaction to see how the people.
That's pretty harsh.
Right, yeah, I could see that really going wrong. But that was the kind of things that you want to find out. It's not like saying, "You have this core value." Yeah, it's just, what does this mean to you? When we say God first, some companies are faith-based. What does
Right.
that mean? And so you get the feeling going into the company, which you're about to get into, and if it's you, it's gonna be fantastic. You'll resonate with everybody. And then the right seat is, are you actually competent at the job? So have you ever done this before? And they break it down to 3 parts, and this is cool, man. This is cool. 2 parts you're going to, do you get it? You hardwired, can you do this job? And do you have capacity to do this? That's gonna be a question of, okay, if it's warehouse, there'll be a physical capacity. You have to lift 50 pounds, whatever it is. Or if you're in finance, you gotta have the capacity to work spreadsheets. But so to get at the capacity part, the bookends, most people understand it, but it's the middle part that's different from other competitors is, do you want it? Do you want this job? That's why I
Right.
said, I want a paycheck. I want benefits. I understand, but we want somebody that actually loves this kind of job. They want to do this job. They want to add to it. They want to engage. They want to improve. We want that kind of person that says, "Hey, I'm meant for this. This is my dream job. I'm coming in." And you'd be surprised how that W, that it's called GWC. Get it? Do you want it? Do you have capacity? And also, for any of you listening right now, if you got a person that's really great at something and you decide to transfer them to something else, don't assume they GWC that new seat that you're going to put them into, that new job, because they might get it and they might have capacity, but they might not want it. And all 3 have to be a yes. So we're
Yeah.
interviewing, well, we ask it, get it, want it, capacity. And most people go, really? Do they want it? And I go, just ask and see what happens. The people that want it, hey, I love this, and I'm going to make this thing smoke. And here's examples. And there, that you can feel it, feel that energy coming. Where people go, I just need some benefits. I need this. You realize it's going to be make a hit the gate.
Yeah. That's right.
So third part, I'm sorry. So you got vision, you got people. The next part's going to be data. So EOS goes, a lot of organizations are very subjective. They run off a very small sample size and they project. They're not doing year to year, quarter to quarter. They're not doing ROI to ROE, return on equipment. They're not doing data-based decision making. So EOS, we get the data and we break it down to something called a scorecard. And we
Yeah.
score out things to say, okay, what does the data say? So it might be like this. Joey, visionary, we're in a meeting, leadership team meeting, call it L10. And Joey says, here's what I think we should do. And I go, Joey, I heard you. The data indicates, research indicates this would be a better option based upon benchmarking competitors of ours and what's working. We might want to look at the data. So it's a good way to have, I call it harmony. I'm not
Yeah.
arguing with you. The data's are you here. Look
Mhm.
at the data. And so when you start, the first year of EOS is tough because people have to get beyond that subjective opinion and start actually, by year 2, it's smoking. Everybody goes, where's your data? People start asking for data and critical thinking. And that's when you know the organization starts coming up.
Yeah.
Self-directed work teams, because they're, without you being there, they're going to make the same decisions because they're all going to be looking for the same type of information and knowledge to make better decisions. So vision, people, data, and then the next part is issues. How do you solve problems? Do you band-aid it? It comes right back, Groundhog Day, bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Or actually say, why don't we identify what's actually happening, discuss it, and then let's move to solve this problem and not just band-aid it. Let's look at root cause, correlation, causation. Let's solve the problem. And once that group gets successful solving problems, that's when that flywheel really starts to turn. Because people
Yeah.
go, hey, we are getting rid of issues permanently, not just it comes back every quarter. And then the next issue is probably my strongest area is process.
Yeah.
Because you could have, I hate to say this, but it's true. You can have good vision, serious, good strategic, tactical, operational vision. You can have good people, get a recruiter, they test everybody out, polygraph reference, background checks. You can have good scorecards and you can be good at problem solving. But when it gets to process, they've got something called tribal knowledge.
Yeah.
And tribal knowledge says it's not in writing and it's very informal. And you have to go to the witch doctor to get the knowledge. And depending on what mood the witch doctor's is how much knowledge you get that day. So what we try to do is document and have people to follow an easy to follow process, input, throughput, output versus outcome, output versus outcome of what's supposed to happen. And we do videos like you have a playbook, subject matter expert saying, looking at you right now, I encourage sense of humor, say, look, if you want to do this, pay attention. This is what to do and what not to do. And we put the steps in with the graphs, and we have people that say the process is the boss. So in that backtracking to that issue solving, one of the things we like to ask is, I wonder what the process says we should do. And
Yeah.
you'll find out upstream, downstream, somewhere the problem's there in the process. It's not with the people. If it's with the people, then your HR process is messed up.
Yeah.
So we
Absolutely.
get straight into process where the process is the boss. You have a 24-hour, 7 days a week, free supervisor who's invisible. They're
Yeah.
just waiting for you to say, hey, I'm lost. I don't want to call the boss at home. I don't want to call somebody. I forgot what all they told me. Oh, I'll hit up our little knowledge university here and I'll click on it. It says how to close with these objections. And there's already,
Yeah.
it says it's particular to us, it's custom. And we go, that's the way you do it. And then you train people, you keep what's called a learning management system. So who's got training, you have training, but you make that training real and relevant because people hate irrelevant training. But
Right.
it's take their job and their paycheck, they'll pay attention. But if you got that process, then people start going, you know what? It's a recipe. It's like baking a cake. If you don't have the recipe, your tribal knowledge, you're guessing. And we don't want any guessing. We want you to,
Right.
based on data, here's what I think we should do. And then you test it out. We beta test. Every time we rewrite a process, we beta test it just to make sure. Because I've seen some companies solve their problem, but they created a log jam about 2 steps downstream.
Yeah.
And we didn't beta test it to find out. That's one true story. One department was ready for change. The other departments were not ready for change. They did the change. Nobody else was prepared for it. It was a SAP or ERP system and a SAS system, and it was bad. And then got into blame storming. Everybody blaming everybody. Went back to people. No, I would say 90% of your problems are process. It's going to be process or people. Look at process first. Matter of fact, put you a chair in a meeting and put a 8.5 piece of paper on it at right process. And as you're discussing how to solve a problem, somebody just look over at that blank chair and go, I wonder what the process says.
Right.
And then somebody actually pulls up a process we forgot we wrote 2 years ago. And it was a good process. We just never had time to train anybody. And then them damn train wrecks happen. And
Right.
too busy. So I always say, just think you got a free supervisor. You're not having to pay any money to that's begging for somebody to say, come to me. I can help you.
Yeah.
Any time of the day. And the last piece of those 6 pieces, so you got vision, you got people, you got data, you got issues, and you got process. The last piece, and it goes into a circle. So vision's at the top, but the last piece is called traction. So you take all those pieces and you combine them together to get traction. And the way you do that is all the pieces are interconnected, and you have an annual meeting where you plan a year, annual strategic meeting, 2 days. And then you have quarterly meetings where you say, what happened last quarter? What did we learn? Debrief. What did we change? What processes did we update? And we go into the next quarter. And all that's tied into a yearly goal, the annual goal. So we keep everything aligned. And then from there, we have a weekly meeting, because what we found out is you have a quarter, and here's the next quarter. Nobody does any work till week 12.
Yeah.
They won't do it. They get too busy. But we make each leadership team, we highly suggest, and it's only going to work if you follow this, is have a weekly meeting. It's an hour and a half, but the agenda is very well defined and it works. I've done this 10 years and it's probably one of the best meeting agendas. Matter of fact, a lot of my clients make their customers use this when they're doing projects together. It's that good. It's called L10. Get a chance to look on the internet. You can find it easily. L10 meetings. And the reason they call it 10, they want the meeting to be evaluated at a 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. And you'll find out groups get really focused and you start getting rid of the problems permanently. Flywheel starts to turn, but you got to keep that up. So if you start dropping those L10 meetings, let's just make it monthly. So what the secret is, a lot of people don't know. We try to remind them, The L10 is not just for problems, it's for opportunities, it's for ideas. If somebody has an
Yeah.
idea, say, how come we did ROI on that? What would the impact be? Quality, quantity, time, cost. How much can we save? And that's the beauty of EOS. It's not just for issues. I've seen an opportunity acquisition or merger acquisition. Everybody goes, I just heard this. Let's check into it. One of the things I love about EOS, it ties everything together so you do get traction. And you can on the scorecard actually see your revenue, your profit, your EBITDA. You start seeing changes for the good.
Yeah. It's been so impactful on JW Martin Real Estate. Just we were able to put together a leadership team, whereas before I had 30 something agents all calling me with their problems while I'm trying to be the visionary and do administrative work at the same time, and just inserting myself in all aspects of the business. And by having that leadership team, we broke the group down into groups of 7 to 8 they've got a go-to person that is experienced and they can speak with about solving problems. And if for some reason they're not able to solve it on that level, then it would bubble up potentially to me eventually. But I'm always available for my team, but I have to accept that I'm not the only one that can solve problems. I have people on my team that are been doing this for years, and they're perfectly capable and oftentimes better than how I would handle it if you just allow them to do it and let go of control a little bit. And then the data portion of that has been tremendous. And what I've found with data is that as the company grows, we start to look for more data points because we want to know more about, we want more detail, what's our best marketing source, and of that marketing source, what percentage of those transactions, what percentage of those leads that we've taken in for that marketing source are closing. As we look at each individual agent, which ones are really good at it, which ones are mediocre at it. So we know by looking at that data, we know where somebody might need some training. So it's so helpful. Whereas before it was like, my gut feels like this is going wrong, and the gut feeling is beneficial in some aspects, but when it comes to operating a business past a certain point, it just doesn't hold true.
Glad you said that because I was with one company when I first started my EOS journey out. They had one person that did a bad behavior, and they did what I call a shotgun approach. It's an HR approach. We're going to blast everybody in the organization for one person's behavior. And when I got involved, I go, why don't we talk about how much is this happening? And what happened, I said, look, you got two things. You got something called mitigation. You got something called contingency. And here's time. So mitigation is in front of the event, contingencies after the event. I said, so what can we do to mitigate? And this person, what they're doing is spreading negative gossip. I think the person had a DUI, or they said they had a DUI and they did, but they were slandering this person. And what they come up with, I'm proud of the group. I'm proud of the group. I didn't come up with it and I didn't think about it. They come up with a negative gossip policy.
Yeah.
If we catch you spreading negative gossip, you will be terminated. So understand, we're listening. And if anything happens, we'll be very transparent, cascade out to the organization. This is what really happened. This is the consequence of what happened. And then, this is the part I really didn't see coming. They created a positive gossip policy, which says we encourage positive gossip.
Yeah.
So if Joey just won the lottery, and we're not going to say how much, but we don't want people to know too much, TMI. But, or if somebody's going to their parent, and they've got to take some time off or take care of this personal situation. Usually don't give the personal situation. I just say the person's got a personal event. They've got to, but if it's positive, person got promoted, it's their anniversary. This person's kid won the softball championship of the state. It was things that people appreciated, and it was real. It wasn't bogus. So while I'm here, I just want to say something I believe in, which EOS really doesn't go into, but it's a belief of mine. Employee of the Month awards.
Yeah.
So the problem I have is I've seen it abused. And what happens is you got it last month, you got the month for that. We just rotate it. Everybody's going to get it. Just wait. And everybody's going to get it. Because if you have this one rock star that's kicking it, you keep giving them the same, they get the award every month.
Yeah.
It's deflating to everybody else. I'm screwed that, man. That's why I think you should have an Angry Employee of the Month award. And It's the employee who dealt with a really bad customer. Something was bad, and they cool, calm, collected, cucumber head. They were just cool as a cucumber. They resolved it. They disarmed the person. They created a win-win situation, and that's an award nobody wants.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
competing for that award, but it's a person who deserved it. And that kind of behavior about using positive intelligence, PQ, or emotional intelligence, DI. If you use it, that's what we want people to do is say, this, I like to put it like this. Why don't you come to my hood? And the person goes, what hood is that? I go, adulthood. Right. Right. Okay. Good place to go. Because it's immature, pouting, shouting, and it's not conductive. Because you got word of mouth and you got word of mouse. So it's not
Yeah.
just word of mouth, it's word of mouse. And when you get one person who get on there and knows how to use Yelp and Google and they know how to trash it, it's rough. And you might not find out unless you've got a really good integrity-based search that's looking for bad information system. So I always tell people it's not just word of mouth, it's word of mouse. Let's try to take the high road.
Yeah.
Deep breath, calm, collected, and reflect on what you're going to say before you say it. Don't get sucked in. DGSI, don't get sucked in. Let somebody bait you because they want you to get mad. They get turned on by you getting mad. That's what they're looking for. You just take the high road. Kind of like this TV series back in the day called Kung Fu. David Carey was cool. Or Andy
Yeah.
Griffith.
That's emotional intelligence is so true because you can, as you have leaders and create a leadership team, you can start to see different styles of leadership too. And emotional intelligence is so important when it comes, we're dealing with human beings and crazy things happen, especially like in the real estate world, there's always something crazy happening. And so it leads to heightened emotions. And as leaders, it's our job to be the calm in the storm and keep everybody at bay. And that even translates into a real estate transaction. We're the leader of the real estate transaction. If there's a statistic that 70% of people cry during their home purchase. And for whatever reason, that means there's a lot of emotion involved. And so if we are the leader of the real estate transaction and we're the ones over here crying and going crazy, then what do you think that's going to translate to our clients? So yeah, that emotional intelligence is really important. Thank you for.
Well, yeah, going with them. You feel the emotions. And some people say, you got to say logical and rational. And I go, got it. But if you make the mistake of thinking we're all logical, we are psychological. There's always 100% of the time going to be an emotional reaction before the prefrontal cortex kicks in. So it always hits the oldest part of the brain first. Then it shoots up to prefrontal cortex. But you sit there and recognize the emotion and you just sit there with the person. You don't have to say a lot. Just say, I feel it. I feel it. How do you feel? Let's go through this.
Yeah.
If I know that's going to happen, I always make sure I got a Kleenex or a handkerchief, and if you could embroider it with the company's logo and start to cry, you give it to them. You don't get it back. So, yeah, gift. And it's kind of like covert marketing, but at the same time, I want you not just a Kleenex, but here's something that's meaningful. Here's a good handkerchief, nice material. But tell them, hey, I am so happy to be able to be on this journey with you. So it's not a transaction. It's not just transactional management, relationship management.
Yep. Absolutely. That's that's tough in the world of the way things are done in real estate these days. Is it's become so much more transactional and people hire real estate agents. Almost Planet Fitness takes members at a gym membership. They don't care if they show up and work out as long as they're paying their membership fees. And so it just becomes so transactional from a company's point of view. As far as their hiring process is even transactional. It's not, the company doesn't care about their people from the start. How can you expect the people that work for you to really care about the clients and not get transactional with the clients? I think it starts at the top there from that point of view as well.
I'll tell you a story is, you'll probably cut this out, but I would go to, on occasion, I'd be traveling someplace and have a timeshare presentation. And
Goodness.
I probably told you, I used to love to go to timeshare. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. My wife won't do
Brutal.
it at all. And she'll go, why do you do this? I go, because it's good for me. She goes, why? So I'll go in and I'll listen and I'll memorize the fact and I'll say, credit check, and I'll check the credit score, and they get all happy. And then I go, I'm ready to buy except for one thing. I just don't feel good about myself. But if you can make me feel good about myself, I'll buy it. Then the next 30 minutes is the best free therapy.
Yeah.
That's like complimenting you over and over for 30 minutes. Then they call their boss over and they kick me out. But I used to love to do that. And I go, what makes me different from your other customers? Come on.
Yeah.
And I go, and tell me
Right.
more. And I don't think anybody on their deathbed. I play guitar for hospice. One of my things I like to do is work with hospice for a lot of years. And what I found out is you don't have to be a good singer, which I'm not, but I can play guitar. I know some songs. And so I'll just play something. A lot of times people just want somebody to be there and talk to. And music kind of relaxes people. And the reason I bring that up, I've never seen anybody on their deathbed talk about their transactions.
Yeah.
When they're translating, they'll be regret about things I should have done to keep this up, maintain a relationship, or this friend stuck with me through thick and thin. And that's the stuff that they remember. And to me, you see that, you realize, you see enough of it. Hey, that's the last thought the person has. When you start saying, I have to invest more time in relationships and not just say, hey, and that means writing down, if you got a good CRM, write down how to say their name correctly. That's point number one, phonetic spelling. And two, what's their spouse's name, the birthdays, the kids, events they talk about in their life, write it down, capture it the next time you talk to them. Start that conversation from there, catch me up to speed. And say, I believe this, I have friends in life. I don't have people I've served. I have made friends. Everybody I work with EOS, I serve who I serve. I have a servant leadership approach. My job is to serve you, not to impress you, but to impress upon you. I'm here for you. That's my job, is to help you grow the business. That's what the EOS is pretty simple. It does one thing. It grows your business. And it controls your growth because you can't grow too fast. And that's a problem that I've seen in merger acquisition, where nobody compared the values of one company to the other company, but the money looked good. But when they purchased it, two sets of values, flashpoints, that the values collide. And then everybody hides. And you should have done a little more prepping, documentation on who we are. And welcome to our family. But that's one thing I'm proud of EOS. We try to think of everything you haven't thought of. And EOS keeps continually improving. So I've been, like I said, doing it 10 years. Every quarter, we have nuggets of tidbits on ways to help people improve their business.
Yep. I'd like to say, Dean, it's definitely been a huge improvement for JW Martin Real Estate. And it's actually helped free up my time to focus on other ventures and things like that as well. And I think it's made everybody happier within the organization overall. If you will, share with the listeners how they can find you if you might be an entrepreneur out there that's kind of at that same kind of point to where you're growing a little too fast, or you feel like the company's kind of gotten away from you. How can they find you, Dean?
I would love that. First of all, let me give my email address, phone number, in case anybody wants to contact me directly. I'm an extrovert, so I like it. Contact me, text, but however you want to get in contact. But my email address is pretty simple. It's going to be Dean, DEAN, period, Russell, RUSSELL, two S's, two L's, at EOSworldwide.com. And the reason I mention is you can actually go to EOSworldwide.com and look up implementers in your area, and my name will come up as a certified EOSI. I also have my own microsite. It's what we call it. It's on EOS, but on my microsite, if you'd like to write this down, hang on 1 second. I've got to leave this to go there. I'll get that to you. I think I actually put it in my show notes on how people can contact me. But those, and my cell phone number. And if you're selling Medicare, do not call me. I've had enough of calls lately. My cell phone, and it's because I'm pretty trusting of people. I truly believe that when Patrick Lencioni wrote that book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, he said the number one thing you got to have is trust.
Yeah.
If you have trust, everything's just going to be a lot more harder. You can get there, but it takes a lot of time, because good trust minimizes conflict, minimizes lack of commitment, minimizes lack of motivation, and minimizes results. But if you have trust, that's why I believe in team building, like team building events and stuff like that. So my cell phone, everyone reach me, is area code 612. Oh, I'm in Waynesville, North Carolina, unless you're from Western North Carolina, up in South Carolina. I don't know where it is, but I'm right next to Asheville.
Yeah.
So my cell phone is 612-747-4592. And a lot of times I'm traveling. I'm in Chicago. I'm in Philly. I'm doing this all over the United States. Somebody is, where's Waynesville at? And I go to Asheville, take a left. Go back 45 years. Waynesville. We're about 18 miles from Asheville, and I consider one of the most beautiful parts of the United States. So the Smoky Mountains are very high. Go from 0 to 6,000 feet, 52 waterfalls right around here, the Biltmore Estate. So I love where I live, and I live on top of a mountain and can see the whole parkway, and it's just beautiful. And a lot of times I'm a faith-based person. I say, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for allowing me to have my life and help people do what they want to do. And in your case, give entrepreneur leaders the freedom to do the things they need to do and the freedom from the things they don't want to do, they're not good at. And
Yeah.
they go, I need to delegate, elevate somebody to do this for me. And that's where that trust kicks in. And if you get that trust, and then EOS doesn't do this, but I added it. EOS has talked to me about it.
Yeah.
I delegate, elevate, regulate. Delegate part of what I'm doing, my job to you. I want to elevate you to do it, but I want to regulate it by giving processes and systems to help you be successful.
Yeah.
The output and the outcome match up to my expectations. That way there's no S&S, shock or surprise. We hate shock and surprise, especially bad shock and surprise. So EOS tries to minimize those hidden disruptors in your life. It was a distraction that turned into a disruptor. No, we don't like that. That's why we have that weekly L10 meeting.
Yep. We do our L10s every Wednesday, and it's been such a huge change. And EOS actually teaches you the proper way to host a meeting too, which has been a huge benefit too. So you're not wasting people's time. We tend to go over on our meetings a bit, but we are conscious of everyone's time and respect it and don't want to waste it. So.
Yeah, if you get the chance, and I'm very serious about this, with 10 years of doing this, I've seen this. That L10 format is so good, so effective, so efficient. Please, EOSworldwide.com, and just type, EOS gives away a lot of our tools. We're an abundance mentality company. We believe what goes around comes around, and we truly try to give away lots of stuff. So if you type into L10 format and look at it over, I understand there's been a lot of time and dedication and years to get that perfect. And it is so good. Like I said, a lot of my clients use it with their clients. Let's have a meeting, talk about this, because it's set up for the agenda and it's set up to get rid of problems and take advantage of opportunities. At the same time, keeping track of those other pieces of the puzzle, the vision, the people, the data, the process is all inclusive. I'm not trying to brag, but when you find something that works and you're a skeptic or a cynic like I can be occasionally, and it continues to work, after a few years, you start just commit all the way and drink the Kool-Aid because it's good, man. And it's so good. I tell people, don't overcomplicate what you're doing and try to stay pure to it. Just follow it, look at the time on it, how it does, sets up your meeting. And I think you'll appreciate watching this session with me and Joey. If you just got that one piece of information, it'll make your life easier.
All right, Dean, thank you again for being on the show.
That's it for this episode of Homebrew. If it resonated with you or gave you a fresh perspective, share it with someone else who's working hard to make their mark. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, no matter the challenge, keep pushing forward because success is brewed one step at a time. We'll see you next time. Same place, new story.